Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020 at this Go Home show for WCW British Assault, and it's time to get rolling towards a new bit pay-per-view in England. See, WWF stole my idea, even though they have no idea who I am. They've been working on it for months, but look, I set up a show in Britain. The real life WWE sets up real life pay-per-view in Britain. Who knows? Anyway, more seriously, one last call for the mid-year awards. So again, only got a few responses. Want a few more responses before I figure things out. I'll actually do the results after the SummerSlam, special that I do every year, where I book WWE for the break pay-per-views. But after that, I'll reveal the results. Again, wrestler of the year, face of the year, heel of the mid-year, moment of the year, tag team of the mid-year, etc. Again, follow the link, vote who you want. Vote what characters you've enjoyed, what moments you've enjoyed, what tag team, what heels, whatever you enjoyed. But anyway, it's on to the show, so I'll be back with that in just a moment. And for our Go Home show for British Assault, we are live from Buffalo, New York, with 17,000 plus people as the announcers put over, the Nitro opening, and that tonight's going to be a huge tag team main event where O'Haire and Palumbo will team up once again to take on Kidman and Booker in tonight's big main event as a showdown right before British Assault. So this gets 69 as just a graphic, and then we start out as I put over that these two groups have been fighting even before the start of the show, and now a match has been made. And so in that match, and they both had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. Brother Rey and Rob Van Dam defeated Mark Jindrak and Simply Johnny Devine in 10:09 when Brother Rey pinned Mark Jindrak with a full Nelson bomb. This gets a 77 overall. Good, this is just a total fight right from the start. Both guys, all four men going after each other. Simply Johnny Devine flying all over and doing some cheap heel tech as well. Jindrak doing some power stuff and his basic US Pro stuff. Van Dam doing some flying of his own. Brother Rey just fighting with anybody that moves. But in the end, Rob Van Dam basically, tosses Devine out, hits him with a huge springboard plancha to take him out, and back in the ring, Mark Jindrak has nowhere to go. Big power slam, big lariat, picks him up, full Nelson bomb. 1, 2, 3. A big victory for the babyfaces and the former Extreme Compatriots in tonight's opening match. Like I said, this gets a 77 overall. Rob Van Dam gets a 93. Brother Rey gets a 73. Simply Johnny Devine gets a 60, and Mark Jindrak gets a 74. Fun stuff. And then, of course, in the post-match, there's a post-match brawl where all, four men continuing, and then Jeff Jarrett comes in, to help push the numbers towards the heel side, and then Van Dam and Jarrett just continue to brawl before WCW officials eventually break everything apart. But right before they do, Jarrett, RVD dives bomb Jarrett with a big dive on the top from the outside onto the ringside area, with also hitting some WCW officials before things really get broken up, as this gets a 97 and really hypes up the big RVD Jarrett match at British Assault. And then we move forward backstage, where Natty Neidhart talks to Bischoff, and this is put in earlier tonight, and she basically says that she had signed up for the Battle Royal, and then suddenly she was out. And then, when she woke up, she saw that Joanie was in the ring with her spot. So she wants a shot at Joanie Laurer tonight to earn back, to get revenge on Joanie for taking her out and entering herself into the big Golden Gauntlet Battle Royal last week. Eric agrees, as this gets 65, and sets things up for our women's match later on tonight. And then we have the continuation of the little feud been going on between Rey Jr., Sabu, and a Sandman and the Roman Legion as an extremely short match. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated Swinger Pompanius in 5:18 by pinfall. It says with Mysterio Rana, but he hit the 619 and the Frog Splash. As this gets 70 overall. This is just a really quick back and forth match. Swinger does some of his cheating heel stuff. Maybe he goes for some sort of version of Tornado DDT. Rey Jr. tosses him off, and then just goes on pure offense. And Swinger is just unable to stop him. Nowhere to go. And in the end, Rey Jr. hits the big 619, the big West Coast pop, and gets the 1, 2, 3 victory. Overall, this gets a 70, which is really good for a 5-minute match. Rey Jr. gets an 85 because he's awesome, and Swinger gets a 44. And of course, post-match, what happens is Romeo comes in to actually go after to go after Rey Jr., but Rey Jr.'s ready for him. There's a 2-on-1, but Rey Jr. ducks under, hits a big side moonsault, big springboard crossbody block on both men, tosses the swinger out, hits the 619 on Romeo, then tosses him out as well as a crowd pops as the announcers put over, it is going to be Rey Jr. versus Jonathan Toro at the pay-per-view. I did add that, right? Yes, okay. And then moving forward, as this gets a 51, as, Swinger and Romeo, not the most over guys, what can you do? And then we go backstage where O'Haire and Palumbo are getting ready with Stacy when Palumbo, basically goes over to Stacy and says, look what happened last week. What's her name was chasing after you. I got distracted, and then all of a sudden, I was on the business and not a finisher. And 1, 2, 3, I was down on that. So here's the thing, Stacy. I appreciate everything you've done for me so far in my WCW career, especially the past year or so, but I can't have you at ringside anymore because I need to refocus, and me and Sean need to refocus. Stacy's, tries to fight, push back, look for everything done for you. I run things for you. I make sure that you don't have anything wrong with you on the road, and I do help you out at ringside at times, getting motivated, pointing things out. Mom was like, look, me and Sean need 100% focus on what's going on now. And anything that takes off that focus hurts us. It's nothing personal. And, you'll still be our manager backstage, but we can't do anything with you in the ring. Say looks disappointed, and she looks over Sean, and Sean, nods, and then so Stacy walks out. So Stacy Keibler is no longer Chuck Palumbo's manager. As this gets an 87, just, putting this forward. And then, as we come back in the ring, Lex Luger is in the ring, and as the announcers put over that Luger has been battling personal problems for the past few months, and now he's back. But then, out of nowhere, Monty Brown music hits, and Luger's ready for a fight. He charges Monty as he gets in the ring. Monty ducks under, comes off the far ropes, pounce, 1, 2, 3. Monty Brown destroys Lex Luger in 49 seconds. This gets 70 as well, as Luger gets a 49, as it's 2004 Lex Luger, not the best, and Monty Brown gets an 83. Jesus, he's actually getting good. And then, of course, what happens next is Monty is, going to take out Lex again, but Seek and Destroy hits. Sting actually comes down from the rafters for once, and then he goes to hit Monty with the bat, but Monty takes the baseball bat, and breaks it over his knee. There's a pop for that, a mixed pop for that, because that is awesome, but also it's the heel Monty to it, and then Sting's, sort of shrugs, takes off his jacket, and rolls on before WCW officials break things up. As this gets a 75. Good stuff. Then we go backstage where Jonathan Toro is with Swinger and Romeo, who are sitting on the sort of yeah, they're sitting on benches. Okay, I just completely lost the word bench for a second there. Anyway, and Toro's like, you disgusted me out there. How will the Roman Empire rise once again, led by the Roman Legion, if my men get embarrassed by that little mass jump and beat? Look, you guys need to get your head in the game. And at British Assault, in the future land of Britannia, the future holdings of the Roman Empire will be witness to me destroying Rey Jr. right in the middle of that ring. And you guys better learn something from it. Swinger and Romeo both agree, nod and say, yes, yes, sir. As it gets at 45, continuing to build up Toro, and continuing to build up that Rey Jr. Toro match at the pay-per-view. Then we have Joanie Laurer killing Natty Neidhart in 2 minutes with the powerbomb. So, Natty actually comes in a house of fire, but Joanie Laurer is Joanie Laurer, and Natty's Natty. So after after a quick burst of offense from Natty, it's all Joanie Laurer as she just dominates Natty, throws her around, kick to the gut, powerbomb, 1, 2, 3. 70 overall. Joanie gets a 97. Yes, a 90-7. And Natty Neidhart gets a 34. Again, you guys don't know how much I put off putting Joanie in the women's division to keep things kind of realistic, so women's matches weren't getting 70s right off the handle due to her being really over. Anyway, post-match, Lawler goes to powerbomb Natty again, but Gail Kim runs in, basically dives right up to the top rope and hits the Eat Defeat once, which just knocks Joanie back, and then she goes up top and hits it again, which knocks Lawler back again, and then, Gail Kim points to the belt, points to Joanie Laurer. As the crowd pops, as the announcers put over, it's going to be Gail Kim's toughest test at British Assault when she faces Joanie Laurer, as this gets a 65. Then we have our big segment as it's the Shane Helms show with Shane Helms, starring Shane Helms, and he invites everybody out involved in the main event. So first, Booker comes out to big boos from the crowd, then Kidman to slightly lesser boos, but still a lot of boos, and then, Palumbo and O'Haire. And, Shane Helms says, well, it would be good of me as the greatest United States champion of all time to start things off with a former US champion, so what better is to give it over to Booker T. Big boost for that, as Booker begins saying, for years upon years, I wasn't given what I deserved in this business, sucker. How many times with my brother was I stuck wrestling some fool like the Public Enemy, those Hicks at Stable, or the Steiners for the 95th time? I was never given what I deserved, so I had to fight up to the top. And even when I was television champions and putting on classics with that guy from Calgary, everybody talked about him and not me. They assumed I was being carried. Damn fools. Even when I was world champion, sucker, they said it was being devalued because of who was in charge at the time. Well, I'm a six-time world champion for a damn reason. And O'Haire, I remind you, you got lucky, kid. It's not your time. It's not your time because I'm the best wrestler in the world, sucker, and there's nothing you can do about it. And at British Assault in London, I want to take back my world title. O'Haire fires back. Booker, you want to talk about a lack of respect? Buddy, I was a power plant guy, and let me tell you, that was almost never said positively by anybody in the locker room. Me and Chuck, it was assumed we were two guys who got into wrestling because it was our last stop. We weren't giving anything. Hell, all of us were thrown into one stable and told to sink or swim. But we did our best. We won multiple tag titles with each other and with other people. And then we fought and clawed when this company came back from the brink to get what we earned in the new beginning. And yeah, we had wars. We had wars with the Horsemen, Deadpool, and tons of other people. And we got respect from these fans and from the rest of the wrestling world. But now, it is my time, Booker. You're a great wrestler. I will never deny that. You're one of the best of all time. And I respect what you've done. Well, most of what you've done until the past couple of months when you've turned into a jackass. But right now, the future shock is now, and you need to get out of my way. There's stare down, but then Kidman takes the mic and says, Look. It's fine. You guys still make it like each other. But I'm here to remind you that I'm going to win this match. I'm going to prove not only O'Haire that you're a punk kid, but that I deserve to be in the world title picture, that I don't deserve to be forgotten. Because Booker, at least you got main events. I got one shot and buried by that guy whose name we don't mention anymore. And then I was left in the dust, considered a failure. So I did what I had to do. I put up with dealing with Rey Jr. for months until I had my chance, and I struck. And now I'm my own man with a triumvirate. I'm at the brink of greatness. I'm not going to let any of you stop that. And Palumbo says, look, you're here because Booker has no fronts, and Stevie Ray's retired. Don't think you matter. And they start off out there because says, Seka, I'll punk you out right now. And everything sort of devolves before Helms says, oh well, this was a wonderful show. I just want to remind you all, when I recover from this, as he points out to his injured bicep, I'll super kick any of you to prove that I'm the future of this business. And there's a big 5-way stare down as we go to commercial, as this gets 100, and yeah, really builds up the big world title match at the pay-per-view and everything else. That was probably the longest segment I've done in a while. Fun times. But yeah, this gets 100. Great stuff. And then we go backstage where Eddie is pacing before he finally enters Bischoff's office, and he goes, okay, what do I get if I don't go attack Kidman in the main event, if I don't get attack Austin in the parking lot, if I don't do whatever I need to get revenge? Because it's boiling inside of me, Bischoff. Eric's like, okay, I understand. Austin did what he did, and you're looking for payback. But if you don't get involved in anything until the pay-per-view, and you defeat Awesome, and because of your past accomplished, and, after you lost the world title, you got involved in other stuff, but if you beat Awesome in London, at Fall Brawl, it'll be your world title shot. Big pop for that is that he says, well, you've got a deal, man. But Guerrero Family Values means Awesome is going to get, I'm going to get my revenge Awesome, and then you're going to be talking to the new world champion, Eddie Guerrero, once again. 83, decent little, not the long 4 minutes still, but still builds that up as, setting up that if Eddie wins at the pay-per-view, he gets the world title shot at Fall Brawl. And then we go backstage where Tricia is, knocking on the locker room door. Lizzie opens up with Lexi James, and she's like, look, Lizzie, that's what you're calling yourself now, whatever. And Lizzie, oh, okay, Tricia. Oh, please, we both know. But I want you in London. And Doom says, sorry, but I'm not cleared for singles action yet. Boo, because she obviously is. But if you want to challenge at the pay-per-view from somebody who actually is a great wrestler as opposed to a good package, boo, because this is Lita we're talking about, Sodom. Why don't you face a former women's champion at British Assault as Lexi James steps in? And, Lexi draws some more Trish, and the match is eventually made for British Assault. See, you can't have two women's matches on a pay-per-view. And this gets 72, decent stuff. Tricia and Lizzie are both somewhat charismatic, and these two are helping the other people in the women's roster get over. Fun times. And then we come back to commercial as Air Raid and Tajiri are in the ring, and first up, and there's a little bit of tension because, of course, AJ Styles is facing Tajiri for the US title at the pay-per-view. But, everything looks pretty friendly, and then out comes Kaz, and then comes out America's Most Wanted. They take the mic and says, yeah, see, here's the thing. You think it was... It's funny that you didn't think it was us who told Kaz to get involved, because we're sick and tired of you, AJ, getting all the shots when we were the better tag team all along. So, we let Kaz kick your ass and get involved, and Tajiri, sorry, but this is just business, but sorry about your damn luck. So, 6-man match, as this gets a 73, and then we move on to the actual match itself, which it gets a friggin' 81. Good stuff, considering these guys like overness and everything. As an about that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd, Kaz and America's Most Wanted defeated Tajiri and Air Raid in 1510 when James Storm pinned Air Paris with an 8-second ride after a bad miscommunication between Air Paris and Tajiri. So what happens here is this is sort of the exact kind of awesome match that you'd expect. Kaz kicking fools, Kaz and Tajiri sort of having a kickoff, AJ and Air Paris actually doing some good tag team action with America's Most Wanted, James Storm doing some brawling, Chris Harris firing back. But eventually things break down, and Tajiri goes in after Storm, but Storm gets out of the way, and Tajiri just kicks Paris right in the head. Harris get hit Paris right in. Chris Harris pulls Tajiri out of the ring. James Storm hits an 8-second ride. 1, 2, 3. AW and Kaz get the big victory a few days before AJ Styles gets a US title shot against Tajiri. So Kaz gets a 79, James Storm gets a 73, Chris Harris gets a 69, AJ Styles, because he's freaking awesome, gets an 87, Eric Paris gets a 65, and Tajiri, because he's pretty good himself, gets an 82. And overall, this gets an 81. And of course, post-match, Paris is going after Tajiri, but AJ sort of holds him back, and he tries to pull people to calm him down as, the crowd buzzes as this gets a 70, as the announcers put over, that AJ Styles has the biggest shot of his career in London, but he also has to worry about, making sure his opponent and his tag team partner don't go after each other first. As this gets to 70, as then we go, I believe, yeah, okay. So, everybody's coming out to the ring for the main event, and then Bischoff comes out and says, all right, I understand there's some people backstage who want to cause some trouble as usual. So, right now, I'm saying it so everybody can hear. Private Canyon, if any of you come out of the locker room towards this ring, not only will you be suspended again, you'll be fined, and I'll do my damnedest to make sure you get no title shots ever. This is a big main event tonight, and damn if I'm going to let you guys ruin it. So, just setting up, this is going to be basically as clean as it can be tag team match. as that gets a 72, and then we're on to our actual main event, which gets an 87. I mean, lack of psychology, because, I mean, yeah, there's no, like, in-ring generals here, but still a really good match. So, as an exceptional match, like it says, Palumbo and O'Haire defeat Booker T and Billy Kidman in 2026, and O'Haire pins Kidman with the Widowmaker. So, this match is sort of what you expect, Palumbo does his, big brawling and suplexes. Booker fires back with some brawling and, of course, some little heel action of his own. Kidman slips in, basically does some, quick, efficient, but still heelish offense on both men. Some tag team maneuvers, Palumbo and I work a little better together, but Kidman is ready to make saves. April Hunter does some distractions. Booker hits a bookend late on Palumbo, but O'Haire makes a save at the last moment. Things break down, and eventually, Palumbo is knocked to the outside by Booker T. Both men aren't legal men. So it looks like Kidman is going to get ready and nail O'Haire with the Kid Crusher, but O'Haire powers out of it. Big suplex into the corner. Kidman stumbles out. Kick to the gut. Suplex, lariat, Widowmaker. 1, 2, 3. Another victory for Sean O'Haire. For the world champion, Sean O'Haire. As gets an 87. Palumbo gets a 93. O'Haire gets a 90. Kidman gets an 83. And Booker T gets an 87. So overall an 87. Was it just, let me see here, was there anything else? Okay, I mean, yeah, lack of psychology. Did I? Okay, I was going to say, I didn't have them, right, I didn't have them call it, but still, I guess, yeah, these four guys, I'm expecting a little bit of throwing around, but still, really good match. And post-match, as O'Haire is celebrating, of course, Booker slides in, O'Haire celebrating as for the crowd, holding the world title up, and then Booker just rolls in and just takes out O'Haire real quick with a chop block. And as O'Haire stumbles back up, boom, bookend, and then Booker slides out, making belt motions as the after is put over. If this happens at Persia in London, Booker T will take back his world championship as this gets an 83 overall. 83. And then the show overall gets a 91. So good bounce back. So we'll see. I'll check in on what Raw did. See if there's any other interesting news, and then we'll go from there. Sometimes. Alright, so any specific mail? Okay, I mean, yes. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. I guess I have been doing you guys a lot of work lately. Interesting. Anyway. So Raw, let's see what Raw did. Shaniqua defeated Elizabeth Love, okay. JBL defeated Shelton Benjamin in 69. Shawn Michaels defeated Matt Classic in 89. Billy Gunn defeated Steve Richards. Vampiro, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H defeated Perry Saturn and Bum Grun in 94. William Regal defeated Scott Steiner in 91. And the main event, Jericho and Benoit defeated Austin and Undertaker in a random 100, because of course they did. Sometimes. Anyway, I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution. And then, it'll be time for the pay-per-view after that on the next video. But I'll be back with that in just a moment. Alright, it's now time for Revolution, and we're finally overseas as we're in Scotland at the Scotland National Arena. We're at a little over 10,000 people as it's time for Revolution. So we start out with the main event graphic for tonight, which is a return of a classic feud as Rey Jr. takes on Kidman in tonight's main event. Then we go to the ring for our tonight's opening match as we're right to the action here on Revolution. As in a decent match, Tricia Skye defeats Lucina Busick in 9:55 by pinfall with should be the sky's limit, but Stratisfaction. So solid match. Busick tries to do her, grappling and holds and even some suplexes, but Tricia Skye fights out, does a little bit of some, does a fun little springboard DDT, some big drop kicks, and eventually, gets, is able to lock Busick in, hit the sky's limit, and get the clean 1, 2, 3 for the victory here to open up Revolution here in Scotland. So this gets a 70 overall, which is a really good match. Busick gets a 48. Tricia Skye gets a 78 because she's really over and quite good at this point. And so we move forward as, Skye's recovering. She raises her arm to the cheers of the crowd, then takes the mic. And she says, Lizzie, I'm going to get you eventually. But, Lexi James, I admit, you've been great so far in WCW. And you faced all its challenges, and you've been a women's champion. But you still haven't faced Tricia Skye. And in a few days, down in London, at British Assault, you're going to find out why I came here with so much hype. I'm going to prove that hype is real when I show you that when it comes to me and WCW, the sky's the limit. A big pop for that, as this gets an 80 as we move forward. As we then go backstage, where Shane Helms, Billy Kidman, Mike Awesome, and Reno and Cash are all backstage. And basically what happens here is Shane Helms is like, look, as the greatest US champion to one of the better US champions, I think Gek is right. I'm glad, since I'm injured, as he points at his bicep, still all taped up and everything, I'm glad for one night to allow you to make a deal with you that if you want to face off against Eddie and his nephew and that German guy that hangs around with him, as the greatest man wrestler of my generation, I'm glad to allow the best tag team in the world to team up with you guys, because of course Reno and Cash want some licks in before British Assault against the Pretenders to their throne at the top of the tag team division. Kevin's like, great. Look, at Nitro, I got embarrassed. But tonight, Rey Jr., I'm going to prove once again that Rey Jr., you're nothing but media hype. And more importantly, Mike Awesome, go make Eddie Guerrero realize he's never going to get a world title shot after you're done with him. Fun times, fun little promo as this gets an 82. And then we have a fun little angle as Tank Cullen says, well, look, I look out at this audience, and what I see is a bunch of women who don't deserve a bunch of Scottish women with their red hair and freckles and brogues, sort of mixed pop, who, of course, don't deserve the wonderfulness that is Tank Cullen. But I found someone who does, who is just as desirable as me, who's just as wonderful as me, and who will help lead me to the top here in WCW. And out comes Don Marie as Tank Cullen's new manager. As it gets to 47, and it's time for some in-ring action for old Tank Cullen. As in a About to Power Wrestling and Oz's Crowd Heat, Tank Cullen defeats Hayden Vanson for by pinfall. He did not hit a choke slam. I'll figure out his actual finisher. As it gets a 37, Hayden Vanson is a local guy who's actually decently over, so basically he's here to do the job for old Tank. And in here we had Tank getting a 43, Hayden Vanson getting a 53. I'm not going to bring him over to the States because he has no overness at all in the States, so no use for him at all, but he's here, put over Tank, and just a basic squash, and post-match Tank and Don Marie celebrate to the blues of the crowd as this gets a 48. And then we have a quick promo with Booker T, basically live via satellite, quote unquote. And I'm not going to go over this because it's basically everything that you've been hearing the past couple weeks here. 6-time world champion, Sean O'Haire got lucky, and in London, I'm going to become a 7-time, etc. world champion. I get 83, nothing fancy, just doing a final sell job for the pay-per-view. And then we go backstage where Rob Van Dam's like, Jarrett, look, we've walked different paths in this business. You were the promoter's son. You had the silver spoon up your butt. You got everything handed to you, and yet you still complained. You complained that once you were out of Memphis, you actually had to prove yourself, and you were handed everything on a silver platter. You weren't given main event programs the moment you showed up and were barely high school. But you see, I did different in my career. I wrestled all over the world. I wrestled in Japan. I wrestled here in Europe. I wrestled in small shows, and eventually I came to Land of Extreme. And I brought the Land of Extreme such prominence that I was a first-round draft pick for Bischoff once he was bringing WCW back. So that's the difference between you and me, Jeff. And that's why your chosen few will never be successful, because they never actually put through an anniversary like I have. I've gone through tables, I've been involved with barbed wire, I've seen men inside on fire. And in London, in a couple days, what's going to see is there's nobody better than Rob Van decent promo as this gets an 84. And finally, in the go home, I finally figured out that this is the way this feud is supposed to be going. And then we have our fun little match as in a basic squash. Jamie Noble and Emmy Sable just kill Fit Finlay and Conan in 456 when Sable just pins Conan with a big old go-inch powerbomb. Sit down powerbomb. This gets a 43 as Emmy Sable gets a 35. Yikes. Jamie Noble gets a 77. Conan gets a 36 and Fit Finlay gets a 40. And this is just a basic squash put over Noble and Sable as the announcer is put over that it's official. Bill Goldberg will face Jamie Noble, which I think I set up. Hold on. No, I did not. Okay. I mean, that should have been obvious to anybody. Pay attention to things. So there we go. And then post-match, huge crowd pop as Goldberg comes in and he just starts fighting with both men. Of course, Noble and Emmy have the early advantage, but eventually Goldberg spears them both, then tosses Emmy. He tosses Noble to the outside. And it looks like he's going to... No, he tosses Ebony to the outside, and he's about to hit the jackhammer on, excuse me, Noble. When Noble hits him in the knee, and then rolls out and escapes with Ebony, pointing to himself, as it gets an 85. And then Goldberg takes the mic to the cheers of the crowd, and he says, Noble, it's simple. You're next. Big pop for that, then Goldberg walks to the back, as this gets an 84. Fun times. Then we go backstage, where Jeremy Borash gets the first interview with Joanie Laurer, and she explains that for years, I was beside Canyon, and that those were good times. We had fun. We had a great time together. We partied. We were the most awesome force in this business. But everything stops at a moment. And I couldn't go with Canyon anymore because I knew I had to prove myself. So I went back in the training, and I came back to one thing, and to prove that I am not only the most dominant woman in professional wrestling, I am the most dominant force in professional wrestling. And Gabe Kim, you're just a road bump. 68, decent promo. I mean, it's Joanie Laurer, not the best promo in the world. And then we have our semi-main event, which gets an 80. As in a good match, Mike Awesome and the Tag Team Champions, Silver City Rollers, defeat Eddie Guerrero and Wright and Chavo in 1441 when Cash pinned Alex Wright, losing the ropes for leverage. So again, back and forth match. What you expect? Reno hitting some power moves, Cash doing his bully weight stuff on Wright and Chavo. Eddie probably bullies back Cash. Awesome tries to go after Eddie. Things fall apart, and eventually, quick, hook the eye, low blow, dead level, 1, 2, 3 pinfall on Alex Wright, as the tag team champs get the pinfall win here a couple days before British Assault. As this gets an 80 overall, Alex Wright gets a 72, Chavo gets a 73, Eddie Guerrero gets an 86, Mike Awesome gets an 89, Cash gets a 72, and Reno gets a 73. And post-match, the heels celebrate to the boost of the crowd, which gets a 71. Fun times, fun times. Yeah, this is going to be probably a pretty quick show, because again, it's the go-home show, and we're in Scotland, and all that other fun stuff. And then we have the Sean O'Haire promo live via satellite, which gets an 85, and basically, same thing. Future Shock rose to the ranks of WCW, and he's going to prove that, the cash-in wasn't a fluke, and that the future is now WCW, and it's going to be led by Sean O'Haire. Again, straightforward. You've heard it all before. There's nothing special here. Just one final hype, really put it over that in London. He's going to make his mark as a WCW World Champion. And then we go backstage, where Keenan Sharp has the mic to the boost of the crowd as Borash steps back, and he says, Scotland, a country that needs to walk my path, a country that has been for hundreds of years under the boots of the English. Mixed spot for that, because they do like that, because the Scottish people are internally followers. Huge boost for that. Yes, you can scream all you want, but just like everyone else around the world, they need to walk the path beside me, as I can show you the light to true greatness. But that true greatness will not be independence, but dependence on me, Keenan Sharp. 64, from the heel promo, gets Sharp's mic time. No match to pay-per-view, but still don't want him to be completely forgotten about, No dark elevation to put him on to have pointless match for weeks. Ooch. And then we have our main event, which is an absolute, think of every great Rey Jr. Kidman match that has ever happened. Throw in a couple more years of experience, so you can have it throw up on like a random SmackDown 2004, and you have this, technical mastery, Rey Jr. doing lucha things, some lucha submissions, Kidman fighting back with blows, some suplexes, big dives, April Hunter getting involved and then getting yelled at Rey Jr. Rey Jr. hitting the top rope Frankensteiner, but Kidman barely getting the ropes. Kidman fighting back with his own moves, super kick by Kidman, backbreakers, like an Indian deathlock by Kidman, Rey Jr. fighting out of it, Rey Jr. hitting the 619, but on the springboard splash, Kidman getting his knees up, Kidman actually hitting a big DDT and going in up top for a shooting star press, but making sure you're getting his knees up, rolling away. Rey Jr. going for the springboard Hurricanrana, but Kidman hitting with a huge powerbomb, then very quickly rolling through, picking him up, Kid Crusher, 1, 2, 3. Kidman gets the shock. Pretty much a clean win over Rey Jr. As this gets an 89, Rey Jr. gets an 87, Billy Kidman gets an 87. Awesome match. And post-match, Kidman is celebrating. Kidman comes out and just starts absolutely brawling with him. This leads the rest of, this actually leads the Roman Legion to come in and start a fight. They go after Rey Jr., and that means Sabu and Sandman come up for the final save, and things just are ending in absolute chaos as the announcers put over all the big matches for British Assault. As this gets a 94, and then after things get cleared out, we get one last thing for the post show, just for the Scottish crowd. We get Roddy Piper coming out to, because he's a Rowdy Scot, even though he's never born in Scotland. Probably most fans in 2004 don't know that, and Roddy does a Roddy promo to the cheers of the crowd. Again, remember, Roddy is the booker in WCW, so he's at the show, obviously, and he gets to say Roddy things, and he gets a 90 and clear things out. And overall, this show gets an 87. Of course, this show gets an 87. Fun times. Anyway. So, let's see here. What do we got? Oh, right. Alright, let's look at the mail. Okay, Revolution, Rey Jr. Thanks. Okay. Interesting. Ooh, big T. Okay, let me actually pull up Revolution and see here. Okay. So, okay. Ooch. Man. Well, that's unfortunate that. Not the best. Not the end of the world, but what can you do? Anyway. So, to close things out, first, at the end here, we'll go over the whole lineup for British Assault, but also, as is, tradition, we'll go over what's been going over in the rest of the companies. First, let me see here. Yeah, nothing too interesting in New Japan. Anything wacky? No, okay. So, first, WWE. So again, this is nearing the end. This is nearing SummerSlam. This also means I've taken over the Booker for WWF as I do in basically the last week plus 3, just to get things over, and set up a SummerSlam lineup that makes sense. So first, let's do Raw. So So SmackDown was booked by me. So we had the Cutting Edge with the Big Show as Angle interrupts to set up the 3-way for the SummerSlam. Pump and Grind defeating William Regal and John Bradshaw JBL, which got a 63. Then Rico and JBL fought, but Venus celebrated as ECIC champ. Triple H had a backstage promo on Randy Orton. Vince McMahon called out Mick Foley for an 84. Triple H defeated DDP in a 77. Taker and HBK had a convo for 98. CM Punk defeated Tommy Dreamer. And then Gore right out of nowhere hit Punk with the Gore. And then TNA defeated Devon Dudley and Steven Richards, which got a 61. And then we had a TNA beat down, but Christian made the save of his former Team Angle compatriot. And now it looks like it's going to be the new improved Team Angle versus the old Team Angle. Scott Steiner shot a little, including on the departed Kevin Nash, which led Scott Hall to come out and start a brawl, which got an 81. Edge defeated Billy Gunn in an 84. Angle goes after Edge, and then the WWF champion Big Show came out and choked on them both to 100. And then Jericho tried to talk to Brock, but was stopped by his manager Jim Cornette, which got an 84. And our main event had Taker and Michaels defeating Lesnar and Jericho after Michaels hit a super kick out of nowhere, Jericho to a 94. So 94 overall. Yeah, it's fun times. Now let's see here for our Def Ed. First Wildside TV, Cassidy O'Reilly defeating Matt Cross in a 50. Good time for Matt Cross as he's getting built up quickly. Jimmy Ray defeated Ryan Drago in a 48. Travis Compko and TNT defeated Chris Rambola and Militech and Rick Michaels in a 51. And Jason Cross and Shane Balor defeated Rothschild and Killswitch. And then in the Weekly House show, we had Ryan Drago defeating Matt Drago in a 28, Matt Morgan in 28. Double C which is Claudio. Oh, that's an interesting team. Okay. No, yeah, Double C. Yeah, Claudio Castagnoli and Lashley defeated Kenzo Suzuki and Rain Man. So that's an interesting thing, which got a 46. Tony Jones defeated Dagon Briggs. Let's see here. Lazarus defeated Sunny C. Occupied EQ in a 60. Shane Balor defeated Chance Prophet in a 60. Cassie O'Reilly and Killswitch defeated Shane Balor and Chris Rambola in a 64. Adam Jacob defeated Kay Graves and Jacob Rave to retain the NBA Junior Heavyweight title in a 64. And Akabono defeated Wrathtrial to retain the NWA World Championship. I'm going to look up the NWA title real quick after this. Yeah, let's actually do that real quick. Titles. I know I've seen this before. Okay. So, if you guys remember Spider, who's just a random guy from the, I think, yeah, from like the Mid-Atlantic Indies, won the title back in October, held it basically forever, and then Akabono defeated him in June, basically. Okay. Interesting. Akabono, you're an NWA World Champion. Fun times. Sorry, I just had to check that out once I noticed it was him. So, if we then look at our women's Dev Fed, we had Ariel defeated Mischief by DQ in a 48. We had Tracy Brooks and the Pink Girls defeated Allison Danger and Mega Woman in a 52. We had Beth Phoenix and Roni Jonah defeated Vanessa Harding and Bonnie Moxon in a 50. We had Cheer Melissa defeated Millie Hosaka to retain the AWQ title in a 57. And in the main event, Anti-Authority of Desire and Lacey defeated Nikki Rocks and Annie Social in a 52 to win the AWQ tag titles. Interesting. So then if we go to first HWA, nothing too fancy here. We had Rocky Romero defeated Corey Castle. Shelley and Capitelli and Sharkboy defeated Andy Douglas and Clip Deluxe in a 54. Russ Haas defeated Jimmy Jacobs in a 40. Ekmo and Grunge retained the tag titles against Adam Pearce and BJ Payne in a 49. Excalibur defeated BJ Whitmer, retaining the HWA TV title. Ray Steele defeated Skin and Ivan, and Danny Dora defeated Matt Striker in a 56. And then for OVW, they had, let's see here, what of note? Rob Conway and Tony Malou defeated Two Aces. Joey Ryan defeated Charlie Haas, that's unfortunate. Onside and Spanky defeated Science Solution, which is Barry Buchanan and Damaja. And Justice defeated Rico Constantino. And then the other OVW show, not much else of note. So fun times. All right. So that's basically everything that's happening. Nothing of much note happening in Japan at the moment. Like you saw in videos, there, what's the word I'm looking for? G1, but like the in-game can't do the G1, so there you go. Anyway, let's go over the lineup for British Assault live from London, England. So go to our pre-booking. Of course, we got, where is it? Sean O'Haire versus Booker T for the World Championship. We have, in a huge match, Rob Van Dam taking on Jeff Jarrett. We have, for the tag titles, Wright and Chavo taking on the tag champ Silver City Rollers. We have Gail Kim facing the toughest challenge ever, WCW career, taking on Joanie Laurer. We have Lee Skipper facing both Paul London and Jason Jett for the Cruiserweight title. We have AJ Styles getting the biggest shot of his career, taking on Tajiri for the US title. We have Eddie Guerrero facing off Mike Awesome, and of course, if Eddie Guerrero wins, he gets the world title shot at Fall Brawl. Bill Goldberg meets Jamie Noble. Can Jamie Noble have the second huge upset of his WCW career? Canyon faces Billy Kidman. Monty Brown faces Sting. Rey Jr. faces Jonathan Toro. And Tricia Skye faces Lexi James. It's a big old show. And then storylines, we have the women's feud at a 72. Monty Brown and Sting at a 70. Booker Sean O'Haire at an 89. Toro Ray at a 61. Joanie Gail Kim at a 68. Goldberg Noble at a 74. Jeff Jarrett and Rob Van Dam versus the Chosen Few at an 80. The tag feud at an 84. Air Paris AJ Styles Tajiri, along with Air Paris at a 74. The Cruiserweight feud at a 61. And the wacky tag, the Kidman, Eddie, Kanan, Lance Storm, Mike Awesome stuff at an 83. So, that's it for now. Next thing you see will be British Assault, which should be a fun pay-per-view. I mean, again, we're in London, but most people, I've had TV in London forever and good TV, so basically everybody's as over as they are in the rest of the world, including the US. So that shouldn't be much different, and even if it is, oh well, I'll take the hit. But anyway, that's it for now. So if you enjoyed the show, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below what you're liking and not liking, and of course, subscribe to the channel for lots of TEW 2020 content. Of course, mostly this at the moment, but hopefully in the near future, as I have some more time, I'll start rolling out some new other fun stuff, or continuing old stuff. It'll just depend on the timing. But that's for now, so talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one, and see you at the pay-per-view.